Hey guys, it's currently about 1:30 a.m. right now. I didn't want this channel to be only about news happening in Korea. I wanted to have some fun stuff as well. I've been working on a video about spicy food in Korea. I've also did an interview with one of my buddies, and I hope to get that out soon. However, I felt that what has happened in Korea recently over the past year apparently is so big that I really wanted to make this video and talk about it. So this video is going to be about something called the ninth or the nth room. Now this has been going on apparently since early 2019, as early as February. However, we're about reaching the climax now with the main perpetrator being arrested earlier this week or last week, and his name being exposed on the news recently or this evening, which is kind of big considering Korea, like Japan, doesn't announce the name of suspects. Usually we only see them wearing a mask, wearing a hat. We don't see mugshots, we don't see names. However, today they released his name, which is kind of a big deal. And I think this is going to be a very big deal for South Korea and the feminist movement here and the justice system. So essentially what happened was, and again, a lot of this information is, the news is really starting to break now. So I'm sure there's a lot of fake news, a lot of misinformation. Things that I say, maybe I didn't fully understand correctly, or maybe that the news that I read is not 100% accurate. Anyway, to the point, back in early 2019, someone by the name of Godgod, G-O-D, created these online Telegram chat rooms. And what he would do is he would blackmail girls into posting nude photos and nude videos. Now, one of the methods he used to get these girls to provide these photos and videos is he would go on Twitter to girls posting nude photos anonymously and message them impersonating the police, saying that we know what you're doing, we have your information, now either you send us more videos or we're going to press charges. So that's how these girls started sending more photos and more videos. They thought that it was going to be a very, just a couple of requests and then they'd be able to move on with their lives. But since they started sending pictures, they were in turn blackmailed to continue doing so, essentially becoming these online sex slaves in terms of having to spread their content. So that went around, that was going on for a couple of months, and then this other person came to the scene. His name is Baksa, which is either doctor or guru. Essentially what he was doing, he was kind of doing a similar thing. However, the sophistication and organization of how he set it up was much more complex. The way that he set up the Telegram channels, the way that the links to the channels that had all of this content were buried between other channels. I know Telegram is a anonymous chatting messaging service. I'm not sure the technical aspects of it, so I'm not sure how he did it, and I don't think that information is clear yet, and I'm sure the police won't want to reveal the exact details out of fear that other people might go ahead and try to mimic this crime. But essentially what he would do, he would use the same technique to get girls on Twitter. He would also post ads for part-time jobs, offering a decent salary, and then when girls, especially girls in need, in debt, would apply for these positions, he would say that they were actually sponsorships and ask the girl to send a nude photo. The ones that did he would use that photo to further blackmail him into doing further things. This was also a method, since it was a part-time job, to get access to their social security number, or the Korean equivalent of a social security number, as well as their date of birth, real name, and address. So the channels were, the chat rooms were set up, and you had to pay to enter the chat rooms. The chat rooms that were cheaper, they started around $300. They had, I guess, less explicit content. And then the more money you paid, up to $1,000 or a little bit, about $1,300, the more graphic content you would see. And I'm talking about really graphic. Oh, and by the way, the age of these girls range from reportedly 11 years old all the way up until 30. So this is also, we also have child porn in this crime that we're dealing with. Some of the acts that they would be asked to perform would be barking like a dog naked on the floor, urinating in a cup and drinking it, having to lick a bathroom floor, and to very gruesome things. Some stuff I don't want to report, but things like carving either that boxer guy's name into their body, or carving slave into their body, and doing like other sorts of self-mutilation, which again I don't really want to talk about, especially on this channel, which is not supposed to be so grave and so serious. Apparently, at least one of the victims went to the police last July, but in typical Korean police fashion, they didn't really want to deal with it. I have a similar experience to a very lesser extent regarding a cybercrime I was involved in. I'll explain that at a later time in the future. But a female went there to report it to the cyber police. They were rejected. I think at first they were said something along the lines of, well, you had content. You sent the image, consent. You consented because you sent this image yourself. So they were rejected, and the case was passed along to another police department, which got sent to another one, which got sent back to cyber police, and kind of just went around and around and around in a circle. The guy who ran these chat rooms also had managers to ensure that the slaves, which they were called, the slaves wouldn't get away. Because you would think, oh, Telegram is just an app. Why not just delete the app or change your phone number? Since they had all the information about the girls, it's reported that these managers would either show up and talk to the girls in real life, threatening them via phone calls. It's been reported that girls that did escape, their information was just posted all over the internet. And people in the channels were encouraged to post their content over the internet. It's been said that up to 10,000 people have been into these paid chat rooms. It's been said that some photos have been seen by over 260,000 people. There were 74 victims in total, at least that are known of now. I'm not sure if new ones may pop up in the future. This is still an ongoing case. It was first reported last year, didn't pick up any steam at all, and really didn't start getting reported on until this year when feminist groups started picking it up. And now it's in the media. So Boxo was arrested, I believe, last week, and his identity was just revealed today as JooBin, 25 years old. Again, this is kind of unprecedented because people's identities aren't really shown if you're still a suspect. But a petition on the Blue House, which is the Korean equivalent of the White House, they have a website that lets people create and sign petitions. That petition has garnered around 2.5 million signatures, and it's really pressuring the government to do something this time. You know, after the burning sun thing that happened last year, I thought, it either happened last year or 2018. But anyway, after that, if you don't know about that, you can look it up yourself. A lot of the news is available now in English regarding that issue. But I thought that was going to be kind of the climax in terms of these sorts of sexual crimes here in Korea. However, I think this one, I mean, this is why I'm making the video right now at 1:30 a.m. I think that this is going to be very big in Korea. I was reading one website that said that, you know, even the fact that minors were involved, and this could be child pornography and extorting others to, you know, release sexual videos and pictures and, you know, essentially slavery. Even with that, based on the Korean penal code in Korea, it would only give someone up to 10 years in prison. And again, you know, before they released his name earlier today, that's 10 years in prison and nobody knows who you are. So you get out after 10 years or however many, 10, 15, usually cases are, you don't go to jail for more than 20 years, even if you murder someone. Once you get out and your name's not public, you just go back to living regular life without any repercussions. So that's why I think people are really pissed. I think, you know, feminism and the Me Too movement have been pretty big in Korea since 2016 when a girl was murdered in Gangnam by a schizophrenic man. And, you know, as more cases came out of sexual assault or sexual abuse, you know, we had Burning Sun, we had Guhara, who very tragically committed suicide, in part to her ex-boyfriend releasing or threatening to release a homemade sex video they were in. I think tensions are already at their all-time high before this case was out, but due to the nature and darkness and sophistication of this, I think we're going to be seeing some massive, massive, massive changes in South Korea with regards to gender equality and even the justice system. That's just my speculation. I think this case is going to be very big, and it's you know it's quite sickening to hear and read about this. And, you know, all I can say is I hope that the people who were involved in this crime, they should seek very big justice against them, or justice should be sought against them. And I'm a little bit, despite how bad this is, I'm a little bit worried about anonymous messengers such as Telegram. As horrible as this is, I do believe that Telegram should still remain anonymous and should still be allowed to be accessed in South Korea. Twitter is one of the few online websites that don't require you to input a real name and an ID to create an account. If you've never been to Korea or you don't know anything about Korea, you may be raising an eyeball or an eyebrow right now. In Korea, to make an account on websites, including McDonald's, you need to have pretty much an ID card. Twitter was one of the very few websites that didn't allow that, especially considering its social media. Monero, which is a type of cryptocurrency, was also involved in this. I think one of the ways they were able to find out who committed the crimes were they couldn't track the Monero, but they went back to the exchanges that the perpetrators or the suspects purchased the Monero with other cryptocurrencies for. So it's hard to say. A lot of this information, I think, because it's just breaking and it's just mainstream now, that a lot of information, there could be some fake news. A lot of the details aren't revealed, but as time goes on, we'll know more and more about this. And I think this is big enough that it may reach Western media. It may not, just because the corona thing is so big right now in the West, and Western countries are dealing with that. So yeah, I guess it's very, very sad news today. Very terrible to hear all about this. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Stay safe, guys.